Alrighty, so while it is halftime between Montreal versus Orlando, I thought this would be a good time to squeeze in the review of the earlier game that happened between Austin FC versus RSL. And for the first time in this playoffs, we did have a game that goes the distance. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought RSL was gonna pull this one off. Like this kind of looked a little bit similar to the one that they play against the Seattle Sounders, where well, at least the difference is they were able to score in this one. It looked like they were able to pull out the victory and survive after being a man down for pretty much the last half of this game. But Austin, there's just something about this team, and that they probably have heard about my doubts about whether if their resilient play and the way that they just keep coming back from deficit and somehow able to create those magical moments is not going to happen in the playoffs. And they did it again in this one. Though I will say that this was mostly a very frustrating game, not only for RSL fans that were pretty much just sitting on the edge of the seat ever since they had the lead early in this one, but just for Austin fans. I mean, they had a lot of chances in this game. They had a lot of chances, especially in extra time, to really put this one away in extra time, and doesn't even have to go to a PK shootout. But in the end, they were able to prevail in the PK shootout. We'll talk about what happened in the PK shootout too. But in the first half, it was a raucous crowd at Q2 Stadium, and that is expected. I mean, this is the first playoff game at Q2 Stadium, and I talk about Q2 Stadium. That atmosphere is among the best in the league, and that's for the regular season. So I can't imagine how when playoff time is going to come, and it was not a big surprise that it was definitely a party atmosphere there, but it was quickly turned to silent after just 3 minutes because RSL would take the lead. It's Cordova scoring from Brody and Ruiz to give RSL a 1-0 lead, and again, that packs Q2 Stadium, who was in party atmosphere. They were in stunned silence. Like, they did not expect their team. I mean, they expect their team to hopefully get the win by supporting them throughout the game, but they definitely did not expect them to go 1-0 down. Although, at least maybe some might, because again, this is a team that they have a knack in terms of falling behind early in the game, and they also have the knack in terms of coming from behind. And again, this is where I talk about the narrative that I don't think this is a successful recipe when playoff time comes, but it seems like Austin says otherwise after this game. But Fagundes then fires it high on the free kick, and then Finley heads it wide from close range in the 11th minute. But then in the 12th minute, a penalty was given to RSL after VAR deemed that Valencia handballed this one in the box. Now, there was definitely a couple of controversial handball call that was made in this game, and in this one, I mean, I look at it a couple of times, and I guess it did kind of touch Valencia hand. I mean, originally I thought it was kind of off of his shoulder, and then it kind of came off of his arm. But at second look, it looked like maybe that ball kind of grazed the hand of Valencia, and unfortunately, Valencia doesn't really help his case. The fact that his arm was in an outstretched position, and that I guess maybe when they go to VAR and look at it, they must have zoned in to see whether indeed Valencia did handball it there, and they say it did. So yeah, that gives the penalty for RSL, which Cordova steps up and he buries the penalty to give it a 2-0 lead in favor of RSL. And again, the slow start that has been a plaguing problem for Austin this season continue at home. They find themselves 2-0 down in this game, but this is Austin. This is a team that has been able to come from behind from victory. So although I'm pretty sure that the fans there at Q2 Stadium was kind of frustrated the fact that, oh great, here we go again. This is where let's just pray the fact that this team can find a way to dig themselves out of a hole. They still have the belief that they can do it because they've done it so many times in the regular season at home. In fact, that comeback trail didn't actually have to wait a long time, because in the 27th minute after Valencia hits one right to McMahon, in the 31st minute, who else but Sebastian Driussi, a guy that has been a keystone in terms of not only this Austin attack, but a guy that has been scoring some big goals to start comebacks. He started here as he scored from Fagundes and Gabrielson to tie or actually not tie the game, but give the goal for Austin and pull within one. And again, here comes Los Verdes. This is a team that you can sense that the momentum was coming with them getting a goal, and that they were really going to trying to to maybe push up and just throw man forward like they have always done when they, of course, find themselves behind. But that's not exactly what they did, because, I thought RSL did a really good job in terms of neutralize any real momentum, and that, there's been times where Austin finally kind of got on the transition, which is something that they love to do this season. But I thought RSL did a good job in terms of neutralizing that, and they really didn't create a lot of chances Austin in the last 14 minutes after they got one back into this game. And we do head to halftime with RSL leading 2-1. Now in the second half, Rigoni, yeah, he should have scored here. I mean, he was wide open in the back post, but he whiffs that one here. It was a really tough day for Emmanuel Rigoni in this one. I mean, he had at least 3 chances in this game, 3 sitters that he could have give Austin the goal that probably should have won his team the game, maybe in regulation and especially in extra time. And here could have had a big opportunity to get the equalizer, and he aren't able to do so. And then on the other end, Stuver was able to deny Savarino from close range, because just a reminder that despite the fact that RSL was started to kind of go more of a defensive shape and maybe hold on to this 2-1 lead, they definitely do still have some weapon, and Jefferson Savarino is definitely one of the guy. But unfortunately, in the 53rd minute, this is when RSL really had to go to park the bus mode, because Rubio Rubin would get sent off here as he gets a second yellow card here, and really just an unnecessary late challenge on Stuver. Like, I get it. As a striker, you want to get there first whenever the goalkeeper comes off his lines, and you're trying to get there before he does. But in this case, for Rubio Rubin, he's already on a yellow card. You don't need to do the sliding challenge, and clearly took out Stuver there. I mean, in many ways, he easily could have just maybe pull off, or just maybe jump over Stuver as he comes off his line to claim to that. But no, again, just absolutely unnecessary of him making a darting challenge there. And not to mention, your team is leading this game. There is no need to try to do. If this was maybe like the 90th minute, then it maybe is understandable, but it just does not make sense doing that situation, especially with him already on a yellow card. So yeah, RSL was down to 10 men in this one, and you just kind of sense that, well, this maybe is time where RSL really need to be in survival mode, because this is where Austin is going to put the pressure. Rigoni had a chance again in the 56th minute. Again, another big opportunity from the header, but he missed that one wide there on a free header. Austin was in complete control in this game, and you can definitely see RSL was in park the bus mode. They were trying to do exactly what they done last season against Seattle, and in some way against Sporting KC too. Just survive, just bunker, and hopefully one chance come toward you and you take advantage of it. There was a shout for a penalty though for RSL that was not given in the 61st minute before McMath did deny Driussi, but he did give up a big rebound here, and he's very fortunate that there was no Austin player around the vicinity, because yeah, that was a huge rebound that he gave up. It could have fallen right into one of the Austin players who easily tapped it in, but it wasn't meant to be, as he's kind of got away with that. But Gabrielson then heads it just hard on the doorstep of the goal before McMath denied Ring from long range, and you can see the pressure was started to mount for RSL. Like Austin was starting to create a couple of decent opportunity, and they were looking to have another like magical moment like they did pretty much throughout this season when they need a come from behind result. In the 78th minute, Rigoni would blast it high from long range, and really as the time winds down, I thought RSL did a great job in their defensive shape. And this is where we talk about this season, where just because you're a man up, it doesn't always mean you could be the better team. And in fact, we've seen it so many times this season where being a man up actually could be a little bit of a disadvantage, especially when you're playing against a bunker team, because RSL was just in a deep bunker right now, and Austin just had no answer in terms of breaking it down. But at the same time, I also wonder where was the urgency too. Like, I get it, it's tough to break down an extreme low block, but there was really no urgency from this Austin team. I think there was a couple of times that Taylor 12 mentioned there was just a bunch of Austin players just kind of standing there still, and that, yeah, I mean, where's the movement in terms of it? You can't just stand there and hope and pray that maybe you create something, because if you're basically going to do that against a bunker, then yeah, you're not going to create a lot of chances. And especially most of the chances that Austin was doing was just these hopeful crosses, or or should I say hopeless crosses. And when you do these hopeless crosses, oh boy, that's when you're not going to really create a lot of chance. I mean, just as Nashville of how that worked out for them, and when they tried to do the same strategy that Austin was trying to do, trying to chase a goal late in this one. Though in the 85th minute, Cascante did heads it wide from close range before Dreyusi heads it wide from close. And again, it just seems like the magic might have run out for Austin, because again, there was at no point I thought that they were really potentially going to be threatening to get that equalizer, and that Q2 Stadium crowd, as much as they were trying to will their team to score an equalizer, you can definitely feel they were not only anxious, but just kind of feels restless. Like they just, the Austin just have not really give the fans a lot to cheer about, with them just not really creating some dangerous opportunity. And that, notice how I didn't even mention McMath one time here, making a big save here. That's just shows you how Austin was not really creating the chances that they need to get the equalizer. But thankfully, in the second minute of stoppage time, as I talked about how the magic looked like it ran out for Los Verde, it didn't, because they were gifted a penalty in the second minute of stoppage time when Caldwell handballed this one in the box. And again, this was another very controversial one, because this could have been very harsh on Caldwell with the way that, he was kind of around his back there, and that unfortunately the ball kind of struck his hand. But I think in the end, maybe that was the right call, with the way that when you have your hand that outstretched like that and it hits you, it doesn't matter if you're jumping or you're just kind of shooting around an attacker. It really doesn't matter. With the new handball rule, that is going to be a penalty, which JUC was able to bury the penalty to tie the game up at 2 apiece. And really, that not only that was a goal that really put Q2 Stadium in frenzy, but you can definitely sense a relief, because again, if that penalty didn't happen, I don't think Austin would have got this one to 2-2. I think RSL would have had enough to seal this one, but unfortunately just an unlucky break here, and that the game was all tied up at 2 apiece. Rigoni did then try to win it for Austin, but again, he hits this one right to McMath to continue a very frustrating afternoon for Rigoni in front of goal. So yeah, we remain tied at 2 apiece, so that means we're going to go to extra time. And also, by the way, I just realized now that I forgot to put the number 2 here next to Austin's, or next to RSL name there. I only put like the 2 here, and also the PK shootout resort. And again, we'll get to that. But we do head to extra time here for the first time in this playoffs. And in the first half of extra time, in the 91st minute, Dreyusi would hit one right to McMahon from close range. But then Fagundes had a free header there, but just could not quite hit that one in. And then he actually decided to go with even a spectacular goal here, trying to go on his bike with a bicycle kick, but just could not connect any contact in terms of the bicycle kick. And really, like the majority of the second half, Austin was pushing for the winner, but at least this time they were started creating a little bit more chance, and the movement in the attack was much better than what they shown for the majority of the second half. And when they as soon as they went up a man, and I just felt that RSL, they were in survival mode. Like, you can see they were definitely, I mean, I say they were maybe playing for PK. I think that's just a kind way to say that they were clearly playing for PK. They were looking to try to get this to a PK show. They're going to do exactly what they did in like last year against Seattle, trying to survive and go to a PK shootout, and just hope that maybe it goes your way in the shootout. There was a shout for a handball that was not given for Austin in the 96th minute. Before 1 minute later, it looked like Austin got the breakthrough, as Dreyusi looked like he scored the hat trick in this one. But unfortunately, you can see he clearly brought this one down with his hand, and I mean, he didn't even celebrate it. You know instantly that he of course committed a handball offense there. And yeah, that goal of course was disallowed, and this game remains at 2 apiece. Felipe then heads it over the bar before McMath had to deny Komalich from long range, and that was a big save from Zach McMath, because Komalich really hit this one well, but McMath full stretch dive to parry that one away. Rigoni then heads it wide in the back post, because again, Rigoni, he was just snake bitten in this game. Like, it just felt like it was one of those days where, when you have one of those days where you're giving opportunity, but you just cannot put it away and eventually kind of get into your mind. And I feel like that was the case for Emmanuel Rigoni in this one. I feel like by this, it was getting into his heads. No matter how easy of a chance it is, he just somehow found a way to squander it. So yeah, we head to the second half of extra time, despite RSL really just So a ton of pressure and gave a lot of opportunity for Austin to get the go-ahead goal in the first half of extra time. We remain tied at 2 apiece heading into the second half of extra time. Now, in the second half of extra time, there was another shout for a handball not given to Austin in the 106th minute. Before it was the post, denying Driussi on a free header in the 109th minute. I mean, that you can definitely see in Driussi's face. He was in disbelief. The fact that he hits this one perfectly on the free header, but somehow the post got into the way. And I also wrote the inside level for both fan base must be through the roof, because while RSL fans, they must be just not only on the edge of their seat, but are just pretty close in terms of going into a coma or even going for a heart attack moment with the amount of time Austin almost had a chance to get that third goal. But also for Austin, I mean, their fan base are probably very anxious, because, you know, as much as you have dominated the game, it only takes one chance for RSL on the other end, and all of a sudden they can find themselves down 3-2. In fact, it almost happened in the 111th minute as Brody actually went through on goal, and I think he was thinking about the headlines here for a second, because he didn't really quite connect this one well, though it was still a big save there from Stuber, robbing him on a 1v1 opportunity. But then in the 114th minute, once again, Driussi puts it into the back end, and this time he thought he scored. Like, he was celebrating when he puts this one in, but the only problem is there was an offside flag that went up, and this offside flag went up because I think it was Gite, the one that was in offside position in the attacking sequence, and rightfully so. You can clearly see he was in an offside position. But yeah, for Driussi, got to be heartbreaking again, because you just had a chance denied by the post just 5 minutes ago, and now looked like you scored a hat trick to win the game for Austin, only for it to be disallowed for offside. And again, it just feels like it's not going to happen for Austin. Like, they just feel snake bitten throughout this game, besides the 2 goals that they had. And I think there was many times that even Taylor Twelven mentioned the fact that everything seems to go RSL way, which it kind of wasn't true, because, you know, that penalty that RSL gave away in the last second was kind of unfortunate. But yeah, most of the thing was kind of go in RSL way, and this is also why I thought, you know, this looks very similar to the one against the Seattle Sounders in the playoffs, where they frustrates the Seattle Sounders despite the fact that they had most of the opportunity, and they were able to win it in a PK shootout. Though in the 119th minute, again, this was almost a disastrous moment, and would have been an absolute heartbreaking moment for RSL, as Tate Smith almost scored an own goal as he basically redirected into his own net, but he is very fortunate that that one went wide and goes behind for a corner. So after 120 minutes of play, somehow in some way, we still remains 2 apiece, and RSL look like they survive and have got themselves in a prime opportunity to win this in a PK shootout. But this is when it kind of become a little bit anticlimactic, because in the PK shootout, after both teams convert their first penalty, RSL decided that they were going to make Nashville and San Jose proud in the playoffs in terms of PK shootout, because they went on to miss 3 straight PK. And most of the PK that they taken, even the first one that they taken, which was converted, it was not good at all. And the final one that they of course missed pretty much just sums up how bad they were in the PK shootout, because yeah, Tate Smith, he basically blasts this one all the way into San Antonio, and I'm not even exaggerating the fact that he basically skied that one over the bar there, and that is pretty much a fitting way in terms of ending what a disastrous PK show that was for RSL, and just kind of a very anticlimactic moment, because you thought that maybe RSL was going to steal one again like last year, and then they did that in the PK shootout, and in the end, Austin, they survived despite the fact that this was a very frustrating game for them in this. And that, again, I know at the end of the day, a lot of people will say, well, you know, if this is how Austin, of course, survive into the next round, I don't think they're going to go very deep. But here's the thing. In the playoffs, it really doesn't matter how you get through. Like, you can play ugly football. You can play in this way, maybe just one of those days where Austin just cannot not finish. But if you move on into the next round, nobody really care, because in the playoffs, it's all about surviving and moving on into the next round. And although Austin definitely were not at their best, and this was also a game that kind of sums up of the fact that, you know, while a lot of people maybe didn't believe them heading into the playoffs because of the way that they were kind of heading into the playoffs, Colin, that, you know, being 2-0 down in a playoff game is not the same as being 2-0 down in a regular season game. But, credit to Los Verdes. They proved a lot of people wrong in terms of that. And while for majority of the part they were frustrated with the way not able to convert most of their chances, they survive in the PK shootout, and they now have another home game, and I'm pretty sure Q2 Stadium is going to be popping again, especially for the second round of the playoffs. But the shots in this one, there was 38 shots compared to 11 that RSL had, 11 shots on goal compared to 4 that RSL had, 19 shots off target compared to 2 that RSL had, 8 shots that was blocked compared to 5 that RSL has, and possession-wise, 68% possession compared to 32% possession that RSL has in this game. And, for RSL, again, I don't think there's really a lot of thing that I would say they should be too ashamed of themselves after this performance. Again, they survived for the full 120 minutes, and they basically had the perfect game plan, just like they did against the Seattle Sounders to advance. But it's just, unfortunately, unlike last year that they had the hero of David Ochoa and also converting the penalty, that was not the same case too in this one, where they were unable to pull through in the PK shootout. And also, this also just kind of shows you that, RSL, if they had the likes of maybe Damir Krylak or even the Pete Yevison Savarino or even Bobby Wood in this team, because I feel like throughout this season, one of the big issue for RSL has been goal scoring, but a lot of that has to do with them losing their most important number 9 in Bobby Wood, and then also losing arguably their most important player in Damir Krylak. I think next season this team should be back in the playoffs if both of those players will stay healthy and provide some attack, because overall, this is a team that I think, even with this early exit, this is a team that shows you why it's not easy to beat this team, and that this is a team that will always fight and crawl their way to trying to move on to the next round. And it's just unfortunate for them they weren't able to do so in this one. But again, full credit has to be with Austin FC, where again in the playoffs you just need to survive and need to get through, even if you're not playing at your best. And that's exactly what Austin does in this one, and we'll see who they're going to be facing on Monday, when they're going to be facing the winner of the Minnesota United versus FC Dallas game. But yeah, there we have it. That is pretty much it for the review of this game. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this game? And yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.